坚持打职业5年6年，最大的原因是对游戏比较喜欢，以及我现在到目前为止，是内心想做的一件事情，然后也希望通过游戏能够让喜欢我的人更了解我，因为我也是通过游戏他们才能够认识我。
You just heard from Cool saying he's been going for love of the game, and it definitely shows. Picking up champions like Yasuo, like we said, we've seen him play them before, not always to great success on the pro stage, but now he has shown that he has absolutely adapted the champion, and he has got some really powerful skills, at least in those later fights, to win the game.
Yeah, I think Cool, just talking about the length of his history, is the fact that he's continuing to improve when usually people of his age at this point in their career are teetering off and retiring. He's just getting better. He's been a hired gunman, I would say, team after team after team. Newbie after, now being on FPX, and he's still so strong, I would say. So the fact that he's coming in and outclassing Scout, the man has a few more years to go.
Certainly does, showing us a lot of growth, but look at that, the Aurelia banned away. They don't want to give that over. That means Nocturne is the priority for Edward Gaming as we enter into this picks and ban for Game 3. And immediately the Lucian Hover from FPX, LWX, could be looking to play the most standard AD carry as he now locks it in and takes it away from Edward Gaming.
Now you got to wonder what EDG wants to pick for themselves in the bottom side of the map, because Lucian is just that strong. And Crisp willing to go towards the mage supports as well, the Lulu that we saw just earlier on. So, you know what? FPX giving the power towards LWX and Crisp might be the better for them.
Very well could be. Now 5 seconds left on the clock for Shinyi as Camille is locked in. So FPX perhaps hoping to return towards that Camille in Game 1 and maybe redeem the performance that we saw. Kai'Sa's being hovered here by iBoy. It's not entirely out of the pale to expect the champion. It just means EDG aren't going to be looking for the full commit to that meta, the bruiser fighter. But Zoe is in fact the lock-in for Edward Gaming.
Yeah, Zoe, I mean, it's tough. Didn't get banned this time around. Aurelia is the one that saw the bench. So the fact that now Zoe is available and being picked up for Scout, if you were able to witness the Demacia Cup games, Scout went off. He was actually just hard carrying on the Zoe, so he is super skilled on the champion. So yeah, Talia's not on the in the meta for him in the mid lane, but now that Zoe is super strong, he's going to be just comfortable there with that and the Rise.
And we also get to see the Kai'Sa along with it for iBoy. So EDG picking themselves a pick composition. That does mean they don't have a tank or someone to really save them from an assassin, as Cool will lock in LeBlanc in the mid lane.
All right, so suddenly EDG going into the second phase have to pick around the LeBlanc. Now, we've seen a few LeBlancs. This one's being picked up for the lane just to be able to counter out the Zoe. Can be put in side lanes afterwards, but can also be a team fighter. The asterisk that I put there is that if you're using LeBlanc with your early game advantage for team fights, then EDG should start to pick a lot more beefier, a lot more pick in mind, so that they can handle the assassin that tries to jump in. So one champion in mind is Ornn. Ornn is fantastic into this. The moment LeBlanc jumps in, you send out the Ornn horn, and you try to engage off that. It's not the quick response that you would see that is an immediate lockdown.
Yeah.
Maokai's another option, but is off the meta for now.
It's been a very long time since we've seen Maokai, really.
Yeah, so a lot of the question is, what is Mako going to pick as well as Ray? Those two champion picks are what's going to define what EDG's response is.
And that's why we see these bans from FPX, Morgana to eliminate the Dark Binding, to eliminate that Black Shield, Rakan to get rid of the Quickness Grand Entrance, to catch out LeBlanc if she ends up looking for a quick assassination. But the last result that we saw that was able to disable LeBlanc was Skarner in the jungle, but EDG have already gotten Nocturne, and that dread, that terrify, the fear that Nocturne has takes a little bit of time to activate. So there's a large window for Cool to play around if he decides to dive in. Now, Alistar has been taken away from Crisp on this next side. It's going to be exciting to see how EDG round out their composition, because FPX, they're even picking away the Fiddlesticks with the point-and-click fear.
Okay, so FPX are going all in on laning phase. So the Fiddlesticks and Lucian. Bottom lane, I wonder if EDG are going to go towards the Braum. Now the Nautilus is being picked up so they can counteract this. This is going to be interesting. Just, of course, these are all just hovers. But for me, very real, because we have seen support Nautiluses globally as a response, so they can go in for all-ins. And I think EDG do want an all-in. They do want a tank in the bottom lane, so they can have the Nocturne enter the laning phase very quickly, very easily.
Well, that's the Mundo. Nautilus being hovered. Even iBuy was looking for it. Leona could also be an answer. Zenith Blade for the almost immediate snare, and then the follow-up with the Shield of Daybreak to lock down any LeBlancs diving in. But that does mean that bottom lane is going to be quite scary for that Fiddlesticks. Look at that, cool. It even swaps over the Summoner spell to cleanse from the Ignite. He knows what's up.
Yep, the moment that's happening. Now, obviously, he'll have the time to swap it over, but for now, he recognizes that the CC is going to be important. That seems like a support Gragas.
Yeah. Very well could be. Body Slam, another great way to deal with that LeBlanc. Body Slam overrides most dashes because it applies crowd control at the end of it, so you can knock LeBlanc out of her distortion if you react fast enough.
And of course, you can also attack because you have a Kai'Sa right with you.
Yeah.
So you use your Body Slam, you get the CC, so Kai'Sa has an entrance into the fight. So very strong snowball on the bottom side of the map for EDG, but better control from FPX really early on.
Yes, looking once again for that lane priority to go back to what we heard from Clement on the desk for EDG to become the mid-game tempo team that we know from them. They have to have team fight setup, which they've got with this current team composition. They have to have a winning bottom lane. Well, now we've got the Kai'Sa and Gragas against Lucian Fiddlesticks. Does this fit in their mid-game tempo style, or will we have to see them try something a little bit different here?
Yeah, they need to actually put a timer on.
Okay.
This is when you look at the oven and say maybe 30 minutes. You're like, a little bit more time.
Set that to 350 and let it go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because right now, FPX early laning phase, bottom lane is good for themselves. LeBlanc mid lane, pretty damn good for themselves. Jungle, Camille, pretty damn good for her. So bottom side is very heavily in favor of FPX. It's when you ping 6 that the questions start to arise. Because even though you can say that Lucian and Fiddlesticks are still strong 6, Nocturne will look for a gank. Gragas has a lot of abilities to now have an engage with his ultimate.
Yeah.
The cask makes it so bottom lane is going to be incredibly impactful at that level 6.
We've seen that strategy from EDG in that game too, the diving bottom. Even in game 1, the Fiddlesticks flashing in to force the fights with Nocturne. But now the shoe is on the other hand. FPX are the ones that could be setting up for that dive. You talked about that. Don't look at me like that.
Are they putting shoes on their hands?
Yeah, of course they are. They've got their little finger shoes for each of the toes, and they're going to try and play like that.
This is what happens when you don't have gloves present.
Exactly.
Got to be creative.
But you already alluded to the fact that the jungle duo that we see on our screen is so strong. LeBlanc with the distortion ethereal chains, the hook shot flash to set up and lock someone down to allow the chains to proc, plus the strength of that pushing bottom lane means that EDG's early game is going to be terrifying.
I would say FPX's early game, or at least I agree with you actually.
EDG should be terrified.
Yes.
I should use the words
They should be
correctly.
terrified just because Camille, LeBlanc, level 2, pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Level 3 as well, just because once you get LeBlanc's full abilities without ulti, she's going to be super strong. So I want to see what they can do here. It's going to be Scout on blast. He's going to have to take a few steps back in this lane.
We'll have to see how Scout can recover after that Game 2 defeat, but we've loaded onto the Rift here for Game 3 between Edward Gaming and FunPlus Phoenix, looking for revenge after their Game 1 loss and trying to find some momentum after their loss earlier this week against Snake. It's Edward Gaming versus FunPlus Phoenix.
Audience is rather quiet here.
It is.
Five-point level 1, so no one really looking for an invade. I would say the team that would have the advantage in doing so would be EDG, just because Cleaver, if you're using Mundo along with you to walk into blue side jungle, and Gragas if you want to go for a body slam. So it's available, they just didn't want to do it. Means that Camille will be a lot more safer in her approach, in her bot side play.
I mean, we're still seeing the teleport out of the Kai'Sa as well, plus the ignite out of Mako, so perhaps they were thinking about it, but instead, like you said, they're playing it safe instead. Already we can see Cool trying to use that distortion for some early harass onto Scout, just trying to get that early lane control. But we do have a double bottom side start from both of these junglers, as Cool is just constantly popping in on the cooldown for that distortion.
Hey, this is actually really cool. Sinyi taking blue buff and going straight towards his red is not what you would expect. Level 1, of course, or at least in game 1, took red buff down towards Scuttle Crab in the opposite side of the map, and then went immediately for a play to press on towards the lane. Obviously, there was enough pressure that wasn't going to happen. But this time around, he's taking a much safer path to go towards both of his buffs. I wonder when he's actually going to be on the map to look for pressure. There we go.
Well, Shinyi, he's got the double buff. He's actually gotten past the ward, and Scout is the target. He flashes back. That's the Ignite tick, and he goes down first blood. Shinyi
runs around the map to get the play for himself. So this is Shinyi starting bottom side, ending up in the top side for a gank. And even though there was a ward in that bush, it was not in position to catch Shinyi on the attack. So really well played, really well designed by Shinyi to get the gank across. Completely different than what we saw in game 1.
Already, we're seeing FPX look for a bit of a similar strategy in this game 3. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cool, put Cool on a carry and gank that lane over and over. Scout panicking with both Flash and the Ignite as he makes his way back into the mid lane. But look at this, Shinyi's on the side, but Clearlove smells the blood in the water.
Clearlove has to be here. Look at the wave. That's pushing in towards Cool.
The chain lands, but Shinyi follows up once again. Cool with another kill.
That's the solo queue terror, my friends. At this point, you're forced in the lane, and you're going to die repeatedly. Yeah, this is the first time around. Look at it. It's not in position to catch him coming through. Shinyi is going to be able to follow through with the flash. So even though you know it's coming, you're not going to be able to get away from it. Speaking of get away from it.
Yeah, iBoy's actually dead in that bottom lane, and so is Crisp. We've got 3 summoner spells burned from the FPX bottom lane, and just the 1 burned from EDG. So we'll take a look at that scoreboard once it pops back up as iBoy teleports back in with a cull. And LWX was the one who got the kill in what seems to have been a level 2, level 3 skirmish down there. But now it's 3-1 in favor of FPX. We talked about how scary FPX's early game is going to be, and now they've already got these kills to set them up even more. Let's look at what happened bottom.
Looks like they went for a dive on towards iBoy.
Oh, and the Dark Wind bounce. Easy dive from LWX as Crisp sacrifices himself so that his carry can get a kill.
That's pretty good on the side of FPX. Sure, they used double flash to make the play happen, but that's also iBoy losing the wave as well. So CS advantage for LWX, and he gets the gold from the kill as well.
Not to mention that wave control is now iBoy is forced to sit back and try and catch minions. Mako is behind them, and Clearlove is nearby at level 4. Could be trying to pull FPX out of position, but Crisp, he knows something's up. He finally sneaks out around the backside just to force Mako to clear out that ward, and iBoy will finally get the chance to push this wave in. But already this early game looked bad, and now it's gone from bad to worse.
Yep, and Shinyi is making sure the early investment is paying off because he's on the bottom side of the map. Hasn't been top lane since the beginning of the game. It's only been 5 minutes, but it just makes it certain that Cool is not going to fall behind by any early gank coming in from Mako and Clearlove, which they're popular for, famous for. And so with the early kill going to LWX as well, if this continues on and if Shinyi is able to pressure down bot side a little bit longer and take control of red side jungle from the enemy team, then I don't see how EDG will be able to come back from the early plays that they're losing out from.
Yeah, they really are. Scout's even missing a lot of CS here as this wave crashes in. Shinyi's still hanging out in this lane. Clearlove is nearby, and now Shinyi will be spotted. Clearlove's actually level 5, but decides he wants nothing to do with it as Shinyi, with the double longsword, has a lot of combat stats despite the level advantage for Clearlove. So Cool hops away from a roaming Mako.
That's the thing. That's what, if you go up against EDG, this is what you have to expect. Mako immediately moving towards the mid lane because iBoy had his base timing there. So Cool, even though he has all the pressure in the world, it's a numbers advantage in favor of EDG.
Mako actually showing himself in the lane to help Scout push it in, just to make sure that Scout is safe. Again, suffering in this game 3.
What's even worse is Cool is going to be able to hold the wave, and he has teleport as well. Now, I think he cleared it, but what I would have liked is, you know, hold the wave, TP back into lane, get a push across, make it so that the wave is in your favor.
You hate to see that happen. 14 CS down, cooldown boots out of Scout, the Ionian boots of Lucidity, and the Corrupting Potion and Dark Seal. Scout is going all for this laning phase, all for sustain. Try to keep pace with the harass that's going to be coming out of this LeBlanc as Cool picks himself up a lost chapter and makes his way in, still holding on to that teleport. But Shinyi, that means with lane pressure in the mid lane, with lane pressure in the bottom lane, he's free to invade into this jungle, potentially steal away this red.
This is good. Look at where LWX and Crisp are located. No, they're taking the wave, so now that they've decided not to help Shinyi out, Shinyi does need to back away. He can stick around and play the long con if you look at the aggro of the red buff.
Cool hops over. Spell shield to deny it. Just calling the bluff of Clearlove. But like you said, the wave bounces back bottom, and Xinyi will pass that blue buff over to Cool. So EDG still responding, but FPX are still the ones setting the pace in this early game.
So it's just patience on the side of Xinyi that he didn't want to stay for too long because he recognized that he did LWX and Crisp didn't want to sacrifice any wave in lane. So sure, that could have turned into red buff, maybe pressure there. Clearlove looking for a response.
Yeah, that's level 6 plus the cast. They got the burst damage and they get the kill. LWX goes down. Drain is not enough, and iBoy gets one. EDG, they've done this strategy 3 times in a row in game 1, 2, and 3, and every single time it has paid off.
Yep, Clearlove hit 6, and you better believe he's going to go down bottom lane. They didn't even need the level 6 ulti from, there we go. Mako gets it up just off of that wave, so doesn't have 6 for himself, but it's enough damage to come across.
And that will start to open up, or at least equalize, that gold difference that the bottom lane found themselves falling into. Though certainly we'll have to take a look at those aggressive combat stats. The Guinsus versus the Blade of the Ruined King, which LWX is a lot closer to finishing off. But here's that play again. Mako, no hesitation.
Yeah, it's just actually impossible to see these ganks coming if you don't have the proper wards for it. When you're going up against a Nocturne, you need a ward somewhere in between the towers in the bottom lane to catch it happening. So if you can find it behind there, that's fine.
Ray is way out of position trying to skirmish with Gimgoon, but over the wall is Scout. Ray is still healing up. Clearlove is fighting Cool. He's actually the first to go down as Scout is chasing down Crisp, who flashes away the auto attack, and Scout locks down the kill. Meanwhile, Ray on that Mundo still alive. Cool's clone gets tagged. iBoy, he's trying to chase up. He's got that flash as Gimgoon walks his way under the turret. Paddlestar will miss, but Cool deep in enemy territory. Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, but Gimgoon walks it off, and Cool, he's just going on a journey. His teleport is going to be used by Ray to catch that minion wave. Void Seeker, ooh, narrowly misses. He didn't have the rush either to catch up, but LWX might be looking for the dive. That's the Bilgewater.
This is hilarious. Cool is now going to dive Ray, who TP'd
from the other side of the map, from turret to turret, coast to coast. He gets it and he gets the kill. The follow-up, but over the wall, Flash, Clearlove shuts down Cool.
At least Clearlove caught the play happening. He noticed that Ray was going to the bottom lane. He's like, wait a second. LeBlanc is going bottom lane. Follows it through. So really well done from Clearlove. Just interesting to see that all happen in front of us.
Always fun chasing your opponent literally from one corner of the map to the other. But now, with all of the chaos that has just happened, it's actually evened up in kills. It's 5-5, still about an 800 gold lead for FPX, but this is going to slow down their accelerated early game a little bit, open up a bit more of an opportunity for EDG to try and get back into this.
I'll say after all of that, what's really apparent to me is the fact that Cool is only stronger now. Of course, the kill that he was able to receive in the last skirmish, now he's 3-1-1 at this point in time. Wants to get Luden's Echo pretty early on in this game, so if he can get that going for himself, not only is it much harder for Scout to be able to respond to that with the item advantage that Cool has, but Cool should be able to roam towards the bottom side of the map and help out LWX and Crisp. So right now, even though that shenanigans happen, you're like, wait a second, I think FPX are just better off if they make a play on the bot side tower.
We'll have to see if they decide to go for it. They've got the composition. They've got the Camille. They've got the LeBlanc. Teleport is ready for Gimgoon, and he held on to his Cannon Barrage. So perhaps FPX might have been seeding that fight so that they can look for the next one later on, knowing that that next dragon is a cloud. Could be some more incentive for Cool and Xinyi to maneuver around the map once they manage to take that, if they manage to take that. But right now, EDG, they're stacking up on that bottom half, though the wave is pushing into them.
This is really cool from Chris. So the control ward so that he's invisible in that bush, but more importantly, that means that EDG have to respect the fact that Xinyi could be there as well.
Yeah. So
you are making the assumption, it's a mind game, that Xinyi is possibly there. In fact, Xinyi should be there. Just taking a look at how LeBlanc is pressuring out this lane. It's a power play coming in from FunPlus.
Yeah, he's tracking through the river instead. Level 7 to Clearlove's level 8, and now stepping forward with Cool. The wave is about to bounce in. That's a full health cannon. Oh, Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands. Scout over the wall, gets big damage. Again, only that lost chapter just relying on that raw scaling, but the wave is cleared out bottom. And Edward Gaming managing to hold on to that bottom tier 1.
Yeah, heavy pings across the side of this map. EDG should feel happy because that play that was coming across from FPX completely pushed aside. Sinyi is not in the position to look for it. Scout
using the ghost there. Clearlove is trying to catch up, but oh no, Cool is just out of range. Sleepy Trouble Bubble tags onto him. There's the burst. He's got a bit of shield, plus the ignite. Scout chases forward. Paddlestar in the ignite. Proc will get the kill.
Yeah, you know what? Cool must feel frustrated. Just bopping right into a wall.
Yeah.
Tries to hop over it. Didn't happen. So he could have gotten out of there scot-free, but that's just how life is.
And the long chase from Clearlove and Scout to find that kill and try to shut Cool down. He's got 3 kills right now. That's a lot of the gold from FPX taken from the map.
Still doesn't have enough to get the lead in Zeko, so that was just really well played. A lot of people will look at that and say, why doesn't Cool just go for the 1v1? But remember that Clearlove was immediately behind him. That would have been a 2v1 immediately. So it was just a lose-lose situation for Cool. That he was just in a bad position, nowhere near tower, so it's just him fending for himself.
And with Rift Herald being taken by Clearlove on the top side of the map, that means bottom has to back away, give up this tier 1 turret. Crisp even going to back away so that they can give all of this solo gold to LWX. He's got himself his Blade of the Ruined King. And now blue buff is going to be passed over to Cool. But still, EDG trying to keep the pace in this. FPX, they're responding to Edward Gaming, and that's something that's starting to look a little bit scary. You never want to be the one that has to respond and answer Edward Gaming's plays.
Yeah, you know, one mistake that you make up against that. Now remember what happened in game 1, where FPX were slower to rotate off of a play coming through Clearlove and Scout, and that just turns into a tower bottom lane immediately. So when they see an opportunity, they'll go for it. That's why FPX right now are playing it really tight, looking towards Sinyi. He's very rarely topside because they recognize EDG is not going to be there for Ray. Why is he going to be there if that kill is not going to be coming across? So really efficiently well played from Sinyi to make it so Cool and LWX are going to be coming out ahead.
LWX is actually hanging out in this mid lane, and now we see some movements from Crisp as FPX, after taking the first turret, are trying to set up for a bit of a lane swap. Shinyi still hanging out at red.
Mirrored pressure coming out here. Remember, if you're a GP team, you should be fine with these lane swap situations because you can just use your ulti defensively on the opposite side of the map. So I wonder what's going to happen here. You can see Cool trying to defend this, but he should feel rather safe here.
You would expect him to, but Clearlove is on the bottom side of the map. He's trying to control that bottom river to enable iBoy, to enable his team. As Scout, steps up. Did he just blow a raspberry at Lucian?
Possible.
Okay. And now that's Rift Herald being channeled in the mid lane. They see Cool bottom. He's got teleport. Gimgoon has got cannon barrage. But now that they've got a little bit of damage, it's a little bit more difficult for LWX to defend this. Crisp is on the side. He's got the Crow Storm. He chases up. The target is going to be Scout in the mid lane, and he dies just to the quick burst. Teleport, channeled, and canceled by Ray.
Now FPX are in the driver's seat. They can immediately look towards this mid lane tower. Looking like they're trying to scatter. I wonder where Sinyi is heading currently, because I think they recognize that EDG are going to try and defend this, and it might turn into a dive.
Very well could. Cool is still sitting on that side. Still no Luden's Echo just yet, as they're pushing back, trying to trade that turret 1-for-1, and it works out. FPX find the kill and the turret. Again, a favorable trade for FPX.
Yeah, that was really well done. Got to give Crisp his dues there. So that turns into a tower and a dragon just based off the fact that he got his ulti near his control ward, knew that he was unseen while doing so, and immediately follow up, burst down Scout, and you know that EDG doesn't have the damage to follow up.
Slowly but surely, FPX are back in the driver's seat, starting to accelerate this. There's just the Crow Storm flash, and there is no escape.
It's instantaneous, so you have to see the setup coming in from Fiddles to be able to react to that. Not seen since he was on top of a control ward, so simple as that. Crisp gets the play for himself. Now, he doesn't have flash, and that's something you have to worry about.
Oh no, they're chasing Scout down again. This time he's got the cleanse, but uses stopwatch, teleport, activated its iBoy, who's coming in, but that's going to be real risky. Can he get the outplay? He's found Cool and actually gets the kill. Scout is going to go forward, but iBoy dashes up the cast, separates LWX almost perfectly, and they get another one. iBoy still alive, walks it out as Scout gets the kill.
That was so sick from Mako. And that was a risk being played from FPX. Look at Cool, trying to go for the kill just in case. he can do it while not finding himself in death chambers, but no, he dies.
Yeah.
So he tries his hardest to get the kill on Scout. LWX was playing safely. He was trying his hardest, but of course the cast comes out, doesn't blow his flash. So 2 kills in what FPX thought it was a pretty proper situation trying to get onto Zoe, who is alone in this lane.
And that's the portal jump you see. Cool finds the opening, lands the chain, but this time Scout, he's got his stopwatch. It's not the instant CC.
And of course holding on to the cleanse with his W, so immediately able to get out of the fiddle here, and then just follows through. So Cool, risky plays, dies for it. Take a look at LWX. Does have flash for himself, but not going to use it because immediately after getting blown in, it would be a waste to flash out.
Yeah.
Knows he's dead anyways.
Scout stepping up with barely any health to save his AD carry and turn those kills over to EDG, but Crisp is still waiting on that side. Those Mobies to get him into unexpected situations. Clearlove and Ray hanging out in this bottom lane, looking for Gimgoon. That's the paranoia. Can they burst him down? Cannon barrage in the middle, but Gimgoon flashes sideways and will get tracked down by Ray.
Yeah, does a lot of damage early on. Remember how squishy a GP is regardless, so very easy to go for it. Both Clearlove and Ray should be able to do enough damage, even if he's under tower. Mundo just gonna take it.
Now, Cool and Shinyi are set to trade this top tier 1. So again, despite the play from Edward Gaming, looking for the kill bottom, looking for the bottom tier 1, it's still the faster response from FPX. They take the turret, and now recall is being started out by Cool to get mid and defend this tier 2. Even the cask to deny Crisp and engage.
Ooh. Yeah, he's not gonna follow it up. Okay, but EDG, I think they're playing well enough in the mid lane, recognizing that Xingyi does have his ulti available, so you don't want to find yourself getting flanked by a Camille. So playing it safely, overall, getting a positive net trade across the map.
That opens up a lot more. All 3 tier 1s are now broken by FPX, and already you can see Shinyi and Crisp stepping up to place the wards, clear out the vision of Edward Gaming, make this side of the map unsafe for anyone to be caught out of position. Scout, you can see how far back he's sitting. Oh, missed the range on that paddle star to try and secure his own Gromp, but Baron's up in 30 seconds. We've already seen these teams' propensity to try and rush it down a little bit faster. Blade of the Ruined King finished off for LWX. Luden's Echo finished for Cool. They might be able to shred through it.
Yeah, they just got vision on Cool as well, knowing that he's mid lane, so looks like a play is going to be happening on top of Grid.
Yeah, that's the chase into the bottom lane. They've managed to catch up to Gimgoon. Again, just punishing him without that flash. Another kill.
There we go. I mean, this is just how easy it is right now. Clearlove has so many options on the map. Gimgoon is super squishy, can go for it. Finishing up his ghost play is not going to be enough. So right now, if you are FPX, you have to be looking to start to pressure on towards iBoy.
Oh, and Cool, that's exactly what we're seeing. Mako over the side sets a trap. Just forces Cool back.
There we go. So Scout and iBoy feeling pressure, but they're playing safe enough that they're not really needing to be using flash summoners. So Scout even getting his own quite soon enough. So I think these plays coming to help Ray and across the map, positives. Just because right now feeling safe for EDG's carries on the opposite side.
And that's something that you never want to have happen when you're playing LeBlanc. You never want the carry to feel safe.
Oh!
But then again, what about the support? Ethereal Chains lands. What a cask! Lines it up, and the Void Seeker, he's able to get the kill as he chases Cool down. Mako! What a... What? I don't have words, Raz. I don't have words.
Gragas God, man. He recognized that Cool was going to head right back.
Oh no, and Clearlove, the paranoia right on cooldown. It literally just came back up. But he doesn't get vision of FPX as they retreat into their jungle. He does get vision of LWX as he steps up and flashes away, culling, which Ray is happy to tank.
And the zoning Sleepy Trouble bubble. Right now, EDG are looking too sick in terms of responding to FPX's pressure.
Yeah.
Result in Cool dying out, and now all the vision control should be in front of EDG.
Suddenly the composition for FPX has gotten a whole lot more frustrating to play when the assassin can't assassinate anyone squishy, when that Fiddlesticks can't find an opening to set up for the Camille, to set up for the Gangplank, to set up for the LeBlanc. Edward Gaming just expertly denying these attempts from FPX.
Look how beautiful that is.
Wow!
Knocks him into the wall, and it's enough time for iBoy to follow up and get the kill.
That missile barrage at the very end to finish things off. Once they've acquired their targets, there's no amount of distance that you can separate. It's Crisp counts his lucky stars. That Sleepy Trouble bubble misses. as he steps up and places a ward and immediately falls right back. FPX now are the ones trying to set a trap for Edward Gaming. Mako places the ward, does not fall for it.
Yeah, even though they don't have vision on it, they do have vision on the HP bar of that ward. So the moment it gets auto-attacked, they can just jump and look for the surprise.
Cool from over the side, uses the ethereal chains to try and split push. Bottom wave is pushing for EDG, it looks like, so they just need to continue to hold on to this mid and top lane. And with Cool constantly maneuvering around, it's easy Baron control for EDG once the wards of FPX run out.
What's worrying is that Mundo is with EDG here too, so they can just start up on Baron and tank it for however long they want. It's going to be on FPX or to try and push them off, so it's a little bit easier for EDG to play around this Baron. They have more options.
Just playing around that top half of the map. Finally, Gimgoon heads bottom to recover and clear out that wave. He's got his Triforce, he's got Youmu's in the mid lane. Banshees has now been picked up by Cool. Not always a great sign when you see the Banshee's Veil second instead of a Magi's Soul Stealer or a Rabadon's Death Cap, or even the Morellos. But still, that does provide some AP, so Cool will still be doing some damage, just not quite as much as he used to comparatively.
Yeah, man's scared of his life.
He is. And he's playing LeBlanc. Is that even, it's almost like a paradox.
I will say this though.
Yeah.
That he's recognizing that his team fight's not going to be good.
Yes.
Going up against EDG, that's just facts. So as long as he starts playing with 1-3s, 1-3-1s that is, if he puts himself on side lanes, then he can still kill Scout super easily. That's not a question. So as long as he commits to it, that's just fine.
Well, the hard part is that now Scout has tried to counter that on his own. He's finished off a Zanya's Hourglass. Is Cool still going to be able to get the outplay? We've seen the bubbles landing.
Bubbles on a Banshee's Veil is the only thing.
You're
so
right.
That's why Cool can play it out much better, still has flash to his name. So throw up Bubbles on top of that Banshee's Veil, and he's going to be on top of Zoe much longer. So it has to be EDG that sets the lane assignments properly so it's not Zoe matching up with the LeBlanc. And they're doing just that. Zoe right now, constantly with Nocturne, making it happen.
Ray steps up for some damage onto Crisp. You can see how much that Mundo is already starting to do. Level 15, only a single level away from that full health regeneration on Sadism. But Baron is up, and EDG, the mid-game tempo team with some of the best Baron setups in the world, are starting to gather around the pit, starting to push into the jungle.
Okay.
How did that hit? Scout at maximum range. Mako just lands a barrel for a slow.
I feel like this is the longest wall in the game.
It actually is. That's not an overstatement. Cool. Overextends. There's the paranoia. He flashes, uses distortion to get some distance away, but this is the LeBlanc. Ooh, dodges the Void Seeker. Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Catches the clone. Cool sidesteps yet again, but the chase from iBoy locks it down.
Yeah, no way to escape. And remember, that's the primary carry on FPX down. Gimgoon recognizes this, so he's pushing this one hard. Baron is going to be started up from EDG.
Yeah, Baron in the sights of Edward Gaming. FPX finishing off that bottom tier 2. There's the chance for a steal if they were to look for it. Blue Trinket goes down, but Gimgoon is still pushing. He's got Cannon Barrage as well. Shinyi behind the pit has Hook Shot. There's the Cannon Barrage, but EDG turned for the fight. LWX walks away from this. Crisp still holding on to the Crow Storm. Baron at 3,000 as it goes down, but the Crow Storm is canceled. Mako and Scout deny that. And the chase over the wall to get out of the hook shot. Shinyi goes in, and he does not get the steal. Baron secured by Edward Gaming. Teleport bottom, though, as LWX didn't go back to base. He helped push with Gimgoon, took the inhib.
Yeah, you know what? Just flipping the coin, because that was the only option that they had there. It was a really well-played point for FPX to try and steal while simultaneously getting inhibitor, but all of that happened because EDG got a proper pickoff of Cool. So Cool, opposite side of the map, when all of EDG were topside, dies, and that makes it so much easier for EDG to put FPX in a pressure position.
And I suppose that answers the question. If you put Cool in a side wave and expect him to 1v1 Scout, maybe he can do it. But that wasn't a 1v1, that was a 1v3. 3 members out of Edward Gaming just showed up out of the woodwork and forced Cool back. So already that strategy is starting to show a few holes. FPX now find themselves on the defense against a Baroned up Edward Gaming. If they want to try to get momentum back into this, they first have to weather the storm of this Baron siege.
I will say, though, that EDG's next few plays are fairly obvious at this point. If they go top lane, remember outer tower it's still up, so they still have a long way to go. They would have to take outer top lane, inner top lane if they want to go to the inhibitor. They want to start threatening. Inhib means that going bottom lane is the place to go, but now they're battling versus super minions. So if you're EDG, it's mid lane to bottom lane, but mid lane to bottom lane means that FPX should be able to defend this inhibitor with the super minions that come out.
The push is a lot slower. You're absolutely right. Mako, though, did just recall and buy a Banner of Command, using it on a cannon minion bottom. And here comes the siege. Cool is sitting inside of a brush as the next wave crashes in. That's the Banshee's Veil popped from Cool. Shinyi's on the side, spotted by Mako, but this is a massive minion wave. Ray is defending top with teleport, but the wave is slowly being culled down. With these sleepy trouble bubbles being fired across, it's becoming real risky. But the minion wave is cleared out. It's all up to those cannon minions to break down the turret. Nobody can get in range. And the Banner keeps it alive long enough. Gimgoon will trade that mid tier 2 though, shredding through its health for the bottom tier 2 of FPX.
Now this Banner of Command minion is going to be joined by another wave. EDG could stick around, just depends on if they're feeling lucky. Here we go.
That's what we see right now. Ray is pushing up in the mid lane, trying to pull FPX apart. Even iBoy is taking hits to defend this. Mako standing in front of this minion to keep it alive and try to break down this in-hit turret. Darkwind, only the last bounce, tags onto the minion, and finally it goes down. Even Cool from the side, getting fancy with his positioning. Will finally commit to break down the minion, but the turret will fall. So too does that middle tier 2. So EDG throwing everything in the kitchen sink to try and break down these turrets, but they are trading so much. Gimgoon has just been shredding through the base of Edward Gaming.
Yeah. So the mid lane inner tower is what he was able to take for himself, and he pushed quite a bit top side. So he has a lot of gold for himself, has Phantom Dancer to his name, so he is getting strong, picking up a lot of minions while all this play was happening. So it's good for him, but overall, that inhibitor being now open for business, it's going to be tough for FPX if they lose one fight. One fight down, they have a Mundo that could be game like what happened in game 1.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely massive Mundo. Now at this 30-minute mark, Infernal Dragon is about to spawn. Edward Gaming with the Baron buff falling off are going to slow down their push just a bit, still trying to keep FPX locked down in their bases. They weren't able to accelerate the game to the pace that they wanted to, but like you said, it's all going to come down to this one massive fight. We've got a lot of outplay items. Zanya's Hourglass finished on both iBoy and Scout. Void Staff finished off for Cool, plus the Last Whisper for LWX. Lots of shred on both sides.
Here's the thing. All of that being done, that means that FPX have to find that proper fight. Void Staff is excellent for Cool, but if you can find iBoy or Scout throughout the chaos of a fight, then sure, that looks good. It would have to be chaos because of how structured EDG are in team fights and how good their composition is at handling all that nonsense. So
not just chaos because it's 8-11.
Yeah.
Though we are expecting 8-11 chaos.
Chaos is chaos. Huh?
Yeah.
So EDG now pinging the top side of the map. Their plan, you can see 5 members of FPX charging to respond to it. Top lane outer tower to top lane inner tower. They have to stop the wave coming through. Banner of Command is available on Mako, so he can just do the same thing top lane what he did bottom lane.
Meanwhile, pings onto the mid lane. They might be hunting down Gimgoon. He uses Cannon Barrage on the wave, but Clear Love forces the fight, and that's iBoy showing up to finish off the kill.
There we go. I mean, really poorly timed from Gimgoon showing that far forward in the mid lane. They saw him for about 3 minutes in this game doing that exact same thing.
They're trying to kill Ray. They don't quite have the Executioners calling the cast. Separates it, and Ray is over the wall. Mako with the save.
Superhero Mako. That's all you really got to say.
So somebody get that man a cape and a mask. He swooped in there. He swooped in.
Swooped in.
To save the damsel in distress, Ray. I don't know why Mundo is a damsel in distress. He had a very important meeting to get to, but now that they've got that kill, now that those cooldowns are burned, EDG are pushing up to this inhibitor, and they're set to finish it off. Crisp is on the side. He does not have flash, but he still has that Crow Storm, and they decide not to risk it. As Cool just lands the chains.
Half HP. FPX have to watch out here, but look at the bottom lane wave that's charging on towards the inhibitor. So double TP, remember, LWX Cool, say triple now that Gimgoon's alive. But if you can find that They don't need to use it. Seems like it's going to be enough. The AI works in their favor.
The
No,
minion
come
wave.
back!
Oh no, it's getting stalled
Where
out.
are you
The
going?
GLP, and finally it gets finished off.
That's what I hate about this minions. The minions are so dumb.
They attack whatever attacks them.
I understand, but that's still dumb. Every game I have to deal with that nonsense, and having to see it front row seat, I'm gonna speak my mind.
They finish off the inhibitor. And then finally we'll get finished off, but that's now Super Minions in the mid lane for EDG, pushing back for them. So FPX, they don't even have to worry about that bottom lane. That bottom half of the map has been played out for them off of Gimgoon's trade 7 minutes ago.
EDG's in a dangerous position right now. Look at where iBoy is on the map, answering to the Super Minion waves that are going to come. Baron is up in 6 seconds. So FPX should be able to just start it, but they're looking for the fight.
Ray. Ooh. Wow, will actually take some damage out of Gimgoon's barrel and does utilize the sadism. Executioner's calling, finished off for Gimgoon. He upgrades that to the last Whisper portion. And we've already got some shred coming out of FPX.
But they buy enough time. So EDG, because Super Minions of their own are pushing through mid lane, they actually have mid lane control, and they just need time to be able to do just that. So FPX had an opportunity where they could have just rushed Baron. I actually think that's just the best thing to do. But now that they were playing it patiently, they didn't get the kill for themselves because Ray's up front. And now they're just going to have to battle through mid lane waves.
It is challenging for FPX. They've still got that bottom wave pushing out for them. They've got some massive items to try and take this fight.
Massive pink bottom lane. So
Yeah.
EDG are just on a timer. Usually teams would just try and force Baron if that's the case. But it seems like they're bringing iBoy back bottom lane because he still has teleport.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a teleporting AD carry that's still like 4 to 5 seconds in a team fight without that AD carry. So FPX should feel fairly comfortable in trying to burst out a Scout or a Clear Love if the fights work in their favor.
Double supers, now crashing into that bottom lane. Teleport, as
Oh,
they're
they
actually
found
looking
him.
for Scout instead. Crisp is chasing forward as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble and Paranoia utilized by Clearlove to deny vision from FPX, to deny the dive.
Even better, FPX, what they're going to do is push mid and look for the Baron. They should just go for it. That's the primary way for EDG to start a fight, was through Nocturne's ulti. He doesn't have it anymore. There's no reason to stop yourself in this Baron venture.
iBoy still catching that wave. Like you said, he's got that teleport, but the channel time is so high, and Adrenaline's range is only so big.
Just do it! I'm actually tilted right now.
Calm down, Shia. They found Clearlove. They're looking for the kill instead. If they can kill him, that would be massive. That's even the Crowstorm being used, but
Oh my
Scout
God.
goes in. What a kill. That's cool on the back. He manages to get in there, but iBoy still teleporting in. That cooldown, like you mentioned, Void Seeker misses Ray. Doesn't have any crowd control to apply. He's around the side, but iBoy, he's looking for the 1v1 versus Cool. Ray healing up as best he can. Black Cleaver is not going to do enough to shred through Ray's health. Cool misses the ethereal chains, does have the second one though. Dark Wind bounces, they get the silence, but that's going to be the kill onto Crisp as Cool hops away.
This is getting
iBoy
hectic.
chases it down, he gets the duel again.
And look at the death timers. 50 seconds on LWX, and you look at the side of EDG, 20 seconds on Scout. Once they come back online, EDG can go for the Baron once they clear out bottom lane waves. So out of all of this nonsense, EDG comes out ahead. In a position where FPX should just start Baron, por favor, please. Just do it. What are they even looking for at this point?
Yesterday you said tomorrow, but today they don't do it, and it's costing them. The double Rabadon's now finished off for Scout and iBoy. They're even more massive after that last fight, scaling stronger and stronger, and the map will reset.
So just where the frustration comes out, iBoy's bottom lane. Nocturne doesn't have ulti. They're going so hard in, all in on this blue side jungle fight. Sure, Mako plays it phenomenally. Look at how this 3-man knockup. So he plays it very well. And Clearlove gets his ulti back soon enough, but all of this is happening, all of this isn't available because FPX had the most hectic team fight when they could have made it more structured around the Baron area. So, I mean, I understand a lot of teams don't want to hear the B word, but sometimes you just have to do it.
Sometimes you just have to do it. LWX thinks he's got what it takes, but iBoy, he's dropping to all fours. He's breaking into a sprint. He's gaining on you. He gets the kill onto LWX on the back of that fight. And now Shia surprise, teleport from the side. That's the paranoia as Edward Gaming might be trying to end the game by forcing the fight. It's a flash over the wall. Cool. Looks for clear love, but he's got the Guardian Angel. iBoy right in the thick of things. He's in the back, but he drops the Zonius to stall it out. LWX is there, but iBoy flashes away. He's still alive, but finally dies. Now it's all up to Scout. Ray is just doing work, though, as Shinyi and Crisp have died in the back. It's another fight as they're skirmishing over Scuttle, but the Flash Scout with the assassination finds Cool and flashes again to catch up to LWX. Scout, can you believe what this man is doing?
And Ray's gonna play the slow game. The saddest death imaginable for Gimgoon.
And the Flash, the ace, FPX are caught unaware. And Edward Gaming win the late game team fight. 4 members still alive as they turn on to the inhibitor and are set to finish off this series against FPX.
Hell of a call from EDG. They see the opportunity and they make it just go for it. So LWX caught off guard. Really frustrated when he throws his ultimate on the opposite end. So it wasn't really useful, but he was just in a really poor position. So in the end of the day, EDG come out big and Scout ends that with a triple kill.
Absolutely stellar turnaround in that last team fight from Scout to close out the final fight as Edward Gaming keep their cool under pressure and respond in the only way that we know how. Prove them wrong with results. We dropped in game 2. Scout's performance was what cost them that early game that led to the snowball, but he proves the motto true. He shows up huge after a rough early game to turn it around. And Edward Gaming, they see the opening, they strike fast, they strike hard, and FPX just found themselves wanting.
Yeah, and a lot of those victories, or at least teamfight victories for EDG, came off of individual skill. Scout, push came to shove, he really showed up in those skirmishes.
Yeah.
But FPX started to devolve in those fights. That's what really made this game for me, was that FPX could have won. FPX, 10 minutes later, could have been the team that took down EDG 2-1. Didn't happen because 2 fights in a row, really not structured properly, that suddenly LWX is having to deal with 3 people in front of them.
Yeah.
So it was unfortunate on their end, but EDG take that opportunity and take it home.
That Edward Gaming find their first win of the summer split. FPX with Shinyi and Cool in the mid lane trying to recover after just barely missing out on playoffs in spring. They're off to a strong start. It's not the performance that we wanted to see out of the team, but we're still seeing growth. We're still seeing them take steps to try and chase down the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, it's hilarious whenever we say that, because it feels like you're giving them the participation award, because currently they are starting off 0-2, which a team will never like to start off on. But the coach, Hachani, will bring them back and say that we are getting better. That we did start off taking on 2 of the best teams in the Western Conference at the beginning of the split. Snake and EDG started out 1-2. So from this point, it's only going to get easier for FPX. They just have to keep this growth coming forward.
Exactly. And take a look at that gold graph. That speaks volumes about how this game was going. The early game wasn't FPX's favor. They ran a similar strategy to that game too. They just weren't able to snowball it hard enough. They weren't able to find openings in Edward Gaming. And this is more so Edward Gaming's ability to recover than FPX's ability to press into the weakness of EDG.
Yeah, they definitely recovered well. And I feel like the individuals of Scout, Mako, Ray came up big. All 3 of them were major powerhouses where I don't even know who's going to get MVP for this one. Sure, triple kill, you know, on your screen.
At the end,
Scout
it was flashy.
seems like it's going to be easy because he got it flashy, but Mako had so many impactful teamfight ultis.
The cast.
He was there throughout the game, very consistently saving Ray on the top side of the map, the blue side teamfight with that 3-man knockup. The prediction on LeBlanc really early on to pin her to a wall and get the kill there. He was super good this game, so my vote would go towards Mako.
Even helping get iBoy through that really rough laning phase over the course of the game. Excellent performance to see EDG coming back into form. They had a bit of a disappointing Demacia Cup, taking that 4th place as they did drop down to BLG and Invictus Gaming, who went further up in that. And they did also lose in that spring split finals. So we haven't seen EDG get a chance to really pop off and take the win in a major tournament this year yet. But this level of play shows that they're certainly ready to.
Yeah, they're ready. Remember Demacia Cup? you know, it was Haro plan, so it wasn't Clear Love. And then Clear Love had that, he didn't have much play to him when he was going into the spring split. So this is a new split for EDG with Clear Love starting them off.
Absolutely showing that he's been practicing with the team. And with that win, Edward Gaming are now ready to advance further into the summer split. That said, we are now ready to advance over to the analyst desk to break down that EDG win.
Thank you, Mr. Roma. And yes, I am excited to get into this one. And it has to start off with this champion slate. I went full British right there. I want to talk about this bottom lane and what Mako did, because we're looking towards this Kai'Sa, and it's just like, hang on, Clement, there's no way to activate the Kai'Sa that isn't timed. You look at the Zoe pick, that's after a few seconds with the Drowsy. You look at the with the Nocturne, with the Fear, that's a couple seconds until that one activates. So it's like, all right, what's Mako going to bring out? Is it going to be the patented Thresh coming out? It's not being banned. No, I'm going to go Gragas, and he absolutely went off on the pick.
Oh my god, that Gragas was such an intelligent pick. Just look at how many things it actually counters on an FPX. That Gragas should be called the party pooper Gragas, because there was no surprises when it came to Chris jumping in right there. He could deny him. He had that great play knocking away Camille from the Hextech ultimatum, and also catching Cool when he was about to distort back to his original position. So massive game, massive plays coming out from Mako. I do have to say, however, I'm not a huge fan of this EDG draft. I actually think that they gave up on a crucial point in this meta, and that's the pre-6 contest onto Scuttle. If you look at this composition, they took the Nocturne and the Zoe first, so their mid-jungle duo was already fairly exposed. There was nowhere to hide them, and that gave a lot of chances for FPX to actually snowball. You just pick 2 counter picks, and they did run the early game. Now, while it did work for EDG in the end, I actually think against a lot of other teams, this won't be such a good idea. And I want to move on from that point to the biggest thing I felt like FPX did not do correctly.
Okay.
They had a pushing bot lane. They had 3 kills on that LeBlanc. Shingy was far too timid to walking inside the bottom side of EDG's jungle. He actually just never did it. He got hit by one bubble once. It did not try it afterwards. You should be able to snowball that kind of game into a straight victory. That's not a terribly difficult thing. That should be a very clear-cut path to victory, but I just didn't think Chingy had the coordination with his team or the courage to pull it off.
I mean, for sure. I mean, when you have Camille in the first place, that's like you need to make some plays on the map. At the same time, you have Lucian, you have multiple power picks right here, and you have the Blanc in the middle lane. I mean, to be fair, when we look at the early game from Cool, he was getting the roams off, he was getting the kills. We're like, okay, all right, maybe this is going to be another Yasuo performance. We went literally from top lane to bot lane and got kills in both lanes. And it's like, okay, cool.
That was amazing.
All right, I see it. But then after that, we really didn't see anything from him. He stopped getting kills after like 12 minutes. And then that was essentially really the game. We didn't see anything more proactive.
I think the big thing is we didn't see a good initiation coming out from FPX the entire game. All of the initiations did start on EDG's side. They had the Nocturne, they had the range advantage, and they also had the denial potential. So that really got into FPX mentality. They were very timid in setting up a correct play. And I agree with Raz, there were a lot of chances where they could have straight rushed the Baron. They had the damage, they had the gangplank. It's not a tank champion. Lucian with the Blade of the Ruin King is actually incredibly fast at taking it. And they had the river control for multiple periods of time, but they never pulled the trigger. In fact, they went for an incredibly risky fight multiple times deep past EDG's blue buff, and all of those attempts were denied essentially. Like EDG was able to blow them up with Mako's clear play, just knocking the entire composition back, never letting them to coalesce onto their team. And they just, I feel like they needed to bring that fight further into the river.
I mean, frankly, Clement, it was a disconnect just looking at FPX's play. I mean, I think back to the top lane fight when we saw the Zoe go into the Zhonya's. I mean, okay, at the same time, randomly gets cleanse off a minion, and you're like, okay, all right.
Life.
RNG, that's life. It just happens, right? But you saw the Fiddlesticks and Cool just reading off the wrong hymn sheet, you know? They were just completely disconnected in this play.
Yeah, so he does go in, and look at this. Cool seeing the teleports come in, immediately backs out. Chris still stays there, but because of the lucky cleanse, isn't able to secure the kill, and they actually kill Cool, who then goes back in for another try right here. And somehow iBoy does manage to survive with a teeny bit of health, does dodge away from the explosive barrel right there.
Yeah, a little bit insane off the back end of that, but honestly, it looked like Cool was tilted. And it also looked like Gimgoon was tilted. I watched them do some things that just like should not happen, and then I also watched LWX. Okay, we call him the shotgun. He goes in there, like he's playing melee range on the AD carry, but the guy was practically hugging his opponent at that point. He went full sword off, and I'm like, what are you doing? And it's just like multiple areas across the map individually just started tilting off the face of the planet.
And this is the difference between a very old and established team against against a new team like FPX, you can see their shot calling still really isn't there. They can take styles from you, but they can't really finish with their own game plan. And this is what I want to see them really improve on. If you want to roll with the snowball cool as hard as you can composition, learn how to snowball after you won the lane. Learn how to go into the enemy jungle and actually set things up, because that's a huge part that in this game we've seen has bit them multiple times. They're too timid on the first step, and they don't know how to correctly take control of an area.
But it is there. We saw it in that second game. We know it is there somewhere. Clement just needs to see more of it. I am actually very impressed, though, by Scout. And I feel like every time I'm on an analyst desk, I'm just like, man, that was sick by Scout. Or like, Scout, what are you doing? It's either one of the two. There's really no in between with Scout. He's very much the MLXG of mid laners. But damn, when he goes off, he goes off.
Oh, yeah. He is one of the first LPL players to really go for the Zoe, and he did improvise on his build with the Unsealed Spellbook. It's no surprise that he's still good now. Sure, Mako set him up for the alley-oop, but he did duck it in the end.
He absolutely did. That Zoe play was insane. And to be honest, it was between him and Mako's play on the Grags for who was going to get the MVP. It was Scout in the end for being a little bit more flashy. But we are going to take a short break. However, when we get back, we'll be with Clement talking to iBoy.
想要征服他人，必先战胜自己。EDG 的队名就是鞭策我们的动力。
When I get old, I remember this day when we scrolled and just felt okay with nothing that been done. No, nothing's really done today. Oh yeah, feeling breezy and easy. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. When I get old and a million worries unfold, I will take this walk and do absolutely nothing, breathing in the loving life. Oh, 'cause whatever will come, if you stand by me, I'm alright. And this life won't be such a fight if we're together, baby. Then the sun shines bright. Oh yeah, feeling breezy and easy. It's a beautiful day. Oh, and I'm gonna be just fine. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine.
Hello everyone, welcome to the post game. My name is Clement Chu, and with me is the cute as ever iBoy. iBoy, can you say hello to everyone? iBoy, 你可以跟大家打声招呼，我的错。
我是艾波。
Okay, so my first question for you, iBoy, is that this is actually the first time that you've selected Kai'Sa in an LPL game. Now, previously, EDG is really worried about you winning your lane, so Kai'Sa was never a champion you guys considered. Can you talk about what has changed and why the composition has allowed you to go for this pick? iBoy, 我第一个想问你的问题是，这是你第一次在 LPL 的比赛里面选择了卡莎这一支角色。那之前的话 ，EDG 感觉非常重视你这条线，也没有办法得到经济优势。那你可以稍微讲解一下，为什么是今天的阵容改变了吗？还是团队改变了？你今天可以选这一支角色？
我觉得是上次德杯打完之后，我们队做了一个调整，因为觉得这个版本对线不是特别重要，可以靠打野或者沟通来解决。
Okay, so after Demacia Cup, our team made a discovery, and it's that laning phase is not as important as it was before. You can actually patch up laning phase deficits with the jungler and with communication. And that will lead into my second question, because we have finally saw FLICKR starting out the split for you guys. Now, previously Mako was known as the main shot caller of the team. Now FLICKR is back. How does this team function in terms of the shot calling? What is the structure like? 那第二个问题，我想问说，你们也提到了沟通跟这个打野嘛？那这是我们这一次看到，就是厂长第一场就直接开始回到比赛。那之前的话都是田野在做主高，现在厂长回来的话，你们沟通的这个体系大概会变得什么样子？
上次就是德杯失利之后，我们队就是做了一个调整，每个人就要分担自己的位置，就是打野就是提供对面所有的信息，然后辅助来做决定，就是怎么样进行。
Okay, so after Demacia Cup, we also came to another revelation, and that is that everyone is responsible for providing information on their own position, and they will talk to it mainly through FLICKR. And FLICKR is going to take that information and give it to Mako to make decisions further down the line. My final question for you, iBoy, is that you did say in the teaser that you were a little unhappy with your trash talking in the spring split. Now, I want to give you an opportunity to practice on your trash talk. Me and Raz think that SMLZ, and not you, is the second best AD carry in the LPL behind Uzi. Only Frostkern will stand up for you. Do you have any trash talk for me and Raz? 最后一个问题，我想问，就是说你在这个预告片的时候有讲到，就是你觉得你在春季赛的这个垃圾话讲得不够好。那我现在想给你一个机会，我跟 Raz 的话认为，LPL 第2 AD 应该是司马老贼，只有猫猫愿意说是 iBoy。你有没有什么垃圾话想对我们说？
我觉得我现在就是上次打完德杯之后，说实话，我的表现很差，但是我觉得我现在会做得越来越好，就是就是 UZI 之后。最强 ADC 在 LPL。
Okay, so bold statement from iBoy. He said that Demacia Cup, you know, that was just a bit of a slide. Wasn't my best performance, but I will continue to improve, and I will be the second best AD carry after Uzi in the LPL. Thanks for the interview, and we're going to go back. Don't go anywhere. We still have 2 sets of games this night.
过去的荣光就留在记忆中 ，WE 要追逐新的胜利。